We are back in the studio. I didn't really like how the rest of that episode went when I got into addressing some serious topics. So I'm off drugs. I'm back here in the studio. I didn't want to discuss some of these serious topics because it would invalidate them if I was on a bunch of drugs. And, I kicked them. I'm back. I'm me, baby.
First of all, it's good that Jeff did this video in a coherent state of mind. Because exactly, when I heard everything he was saying, I was just like, I'm not going to do a video on it because he could always claim I was on a ton of medication. I didn't mean what I said. That's why I didn't want to take his word and say, because he could always dial it back. So I'm glad he's decided to do the video again with a clear head.
And I got some important stuff to say. And I got Cody here. He's going to be sitting in as my publicist. You may know him from when we picked him up from prison, but he's more than just a prisoner.
I watched that episode. Jeff went to go pick him up from jail. He was just released. It was really touching. So I remember watching this video. So I remember this guy.
And an inmate. But now you're a person. You're rehabilitated. And I'm happy to have you here as we're trying you out as a publicist, I guess. And some stuff came out on a Patreon live stream. It was supposed to be more private to just 100 people. But, things got leaked out, and now it's world news,
I don't know how real he believes that. If it's on the internet, it's going to get out. I'm going to give him that. It's really good for him to say, it's a good cover for him to say, hey, I didn't mean for this to get out, I'm surprised it leaked. I get it. If that's how you're doing it, wink, wink, I get what you're doing. But in reality, internet personalities should know when you put something out there, it's going to float. It's gonna float.
We're going to war with Russia. It's World War III. And breaking news is that I unfollowed David Dobrik on Instagram. He is a slimy fuck.
Fuck. I can't even get a job because of you. Fucking expose my life to 20 million people. Who needs to put in a job application anymore?
I did that. In all fairness, I did make a video on you getting out of prison too.
Yeah, so I'm fucked.
One time we were at Air One and it's a very high-end grocery store.
It's like a fancy Vons.
Overpriced.
They recognized Cody from the David vlog where they picked him up from prison. And Cody, this is just like a Staten Island thing where you'll like grab like a cookie in the store, you start eating
food
it
in the supermarket,
and then you keep the wrapper and you pay for it on the way out. But they came over and tried to lock Cody up because of his reputation that was given to him by DD
for a $7 fucking cookie.
They profiled you.
Yeah.
But, okay. And we already know this about David. He has people in his vlogs to fill a different role. So, Jeff, you're going to introduce this guy to David as the guy who just came out of prison. He's going to be the guy who just came out of prison, and David's going to use it on his video that's 20 plus million views. That's what he does. And yeah, you see the real side effect of it where this guy is saying, I can't even walk into a store now. People recognize my face because he was introduced to the world as a criminal. That's how it goes. And not even with David. All of these YouTubers, or if you want to be internet famous, this is what comes with it.
But we're back, and I want to just talk about some stuff. I want to get through some points because I've been protecting this guy for so long. And there's so much more to the story than just him not texting me for a week after I had such a drastic surgery where I could have been blind.
Right. And I knew it was more than David not texting Jeff. And that is a big deal, not to text your friend. I'm using quotation marks here. When they just come out of another surgery. It's a big deal, but I know there is way more underneath all of that. Why Jeff is mad. So Jeff, tell us, why are you mad?
But I just didn't plan on that getting ripped because on Patreon we have that audience of maybe 100 people in a live stream where I feel like I could just talk more freely. It felt really good to get that off my chest. It felt good to get that out there.
I think Jeff is used to his other streams not getting leaked, but he probably wasn't really saying anything in his other streams to get leaked. But I don't know. But if you're going to talk about David, it's not going to be private, not on the internet, and not with 100 strangers, really. They're not your friends. It's not your friend group. It's people all over the internet. It's going to get out. And you and David share the same fans because until now, you were helping David's image in a sense. But to me, you weren't helping David's image, but we'll get into it.
It felt good to hit that unfollow button. I woke up from surgery and a day goes by, no text from him. Another day goes by, no text. I look at his Instagram because it's the first one that always fucking pops up because the algorithm or whatever. and it's just him like, oh, I'm so happy with my life right now, my vlogs and everything, just promoting his vlog. And I was just like, you got time to do this, but you can't text me and be like, hey, did you go blind or not from my actions?
Deja vu. Deja vu. Remember his documentary? Remember Jeff's documentary? It was the same thing. He mentioned in the documentary, it was a while before he saw David and he hasn't seen David. And there was this one like beautiful moment, I thought. Maybe I just put this one clip in here because I thought this moment was like beautiful. Like I remembered it.
I'm not going to come kill you in your sleep. I'm going to learn to forgive you. It's a lot easier to forgive you when you're around.
Totally. I hear that.
Right, that. So you already knew from before. I'm just saying, okay, you guys, we'll get into it, but I'm just saying, David is not going to be by your bedside. And David explained to Jeff, I didn't think you needed me to be by your bedside and hold your hand.
Obviously, I've never been in a situation like this. Neither has Jeff, neither have probably any of us. I didn't know the correct way to go about any of it. Especially Jeff's such a tough guy, so you don't know if like you have to be there to fucking baby him or if that pisses him off. Even
that, the way David said that, you'll understand people only when you figure out why they do things. David told Jeff, you're like a man's man. I didn't think you needed me by your bedside. I didn't think that. David thinks being by a 6-person's bedside is like a waste of time. That's what he thinks on jump, just on level, just basic level thinking, right? It doesn't compute with him. If you're sick, he's not going to be by your bedside. Remember in that same documentary, David was there to pick up Jeff in a Joker's outfit because Jeff mentioned, yeah, I want you to come in a Joker's outfit. And like David actually did it. Nobody else would have done that, but David did it. Because David thinks, yeah, that's great. And there was a camera there too, right? Perfect for David. David has shown time and time and time again, he doesn't care. Remember that video that David did? He had a childhood friend. They were play fighting, and David threw a pine cone in his friend's eye. Accident, right? It was an accident. But his friend's eye got infected. And David had his friend sitting beside him with the camera on him, and the infection went to his bones and he had Bones disease and he had to have surgeries for years. David had this childhood friend beside him telling the story. And as his friend was telling the story, David was laughing. He was giggling. It was the funniest thing in the world to him. I saw that video and I'm like, yo, okay, I see who David is. Watch his videos. Wasn't that another video with, I think it was on Jason's vlog. Jason had a lot of it on his vlog, Jason Nash. But they did this prank where...
Guys, we're going to Beverly Hills to see our manager because David is going to prank Jonah and make him think that Judd Apatow wants him in his next movie.
Jonah is an inspiring actor, and they did a whole setup where they were pretending that they gave Jonah a role for a movie. They had him walk into audition, told him he got the part. He was ecstatic, and then they told him, just a prank, bro. And this guy was gutted. Your prank to your friend that you're going to show to millions of people is to humiliate them. You guys have to understand, it's not all jokes. You have to watch what people are doing. If somebody is telling you underhand remarks but calling it jokes, no. Like, it could be funny too. People could be laughing, but really look into what people are doing and why they're saying the things they're saying. Passive aggressive. What's that guy's name? David does the pranks where he has Jason kissing that guy, Seth. Thank you, Seth. I don't know why I forgot his name. To do a joke like that on your friend, quotation. How is that a joke I'm doing on my friend when that's the same type of joke I do hypothetically on my enemy? You get it? There's a line between who's your friend and who's your enemy. And if you start treating your friend like they're your enemy, something's there underneath. You don't treat people like that. You could have your friend and they say something bad about you in the moment. Okay, that's different than somebody actively planning pranks on you and not even like, I just splashed water in your face prank. No, these are like detailed pranks. Okay, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I'm only like a couple minutes into this video, but you're going to see what I'm talking about soon.
I just want to fucking tell the truth finally. Like I gave this motherfucker so many chances. Even now, a week later, I still haven't heard a peep. I've been posting shit on Instagram because it feels good. Because you fucked me so bad mentally and physically that, yeah, this is how I cope now.
You're not holding back no more.
No, I'm not holding back anymore. I'm kind of pissed off that, even in the documentary we made, We sugarcoated it. There was so much more that I could have said, but I tried to protect this guy for so long.
Yeah, Jeff, you sugarcoated it. And yeah, you kind of gave him the stamp of approval because you could have took him down at the right part because he was already losing everything. But you sat up there and you kind of supported him in that time. So it's like, this is how it is, Jeff. I look at you and I go, Jeff, if you're not mad at David for what happened, why should I be mad? Right? You get it? I could think David is wrong up and down the place. I could think David is wrong. But if you, a person who he's wronged, support him, I would look like an idiot to go out there and say, David did Jeff wrong, to only have Jeff say, he didn't do anything wrong to me. You know what I mean? So I wasn't going to say anything. I saw what was going on, but I wasn't going to say anything because, hey, if you want to cover up for David, the same way you all covered up for David for that thing he did that night with Dom, you guys all like covered up. You guys threw Dom to the wolves. You guys all thought that was okay. Like, that's what I'm saying. And then now it happened to you. I don't want to be like that but this is what happens. That's another thing you guys have to realize. What you watch somebody do to somebody else, don't think they won't do the same thing to you. People think that they're friends and they're showing loyalty by covering up for somebody doing wrong. No, you're making a bigger mess by covering up wrongdoing because that friend is not going to learn and that friend is going to continue to do wrong because you're telling that friend that, oh, it's okay. And if you do something bad, I'll cover up for you. So that friend is going to be like, bet, and keep going. The best thing that happened to David was when he lost all his endorsements, but he didn't fully grasp what was going on because Jeff, you helped them in that time. Because if you would have been like the final nail in the coffin, right? That was like that one opportunity. And because it was missed, yeah, David lost a lot of endorsements. But look at now he's on some like Discovery Channel TV show because he was down, but he wasn't out. I saw something the other day. This is like a couple of months ago. Remember when David accidentally hit Natalie? I don't know if the clip. If I can find a clip, I'll put it up. David accidentally, I think it was on a TikTok, he accidentally hit Natalie. And what did he do? He laughed. I think she was bleeding. He laughed. Most guys, if they even accidentally hit a woman, they're not going to laugh. They're going to be like, are you okay? Like, really? Because they know, hey, it's a lot coming from a guy. You know, they know that, right? They're not going to try and hit you. Never mind accidentally. And David laughed. But you know what I did when I saw that? I'm like, yep, that's about right. You think I was shocked? Do you think I was shocked? I wasn't shocked. That's David. David doesn't care. David would slap you by accident and he'll slap you on purpose and he'll have the same reaction. He'll laugh about it. In case you didn't know.
It takes time to see people's true colors. Even me and this guy right here, we've had horrible fights. We've fist fought each other. We grew up together. We've had moments where we didn't speak for years, but we always seem to find each other and come back and meet at a moral ground. We can talk things out and communicate. But
that's the thing. He's saying him and his friend, they had moments they haven't spoken for years, right? But that's because you guys are angry at each other. Like you both are mad, so you're not talking. It's not that David is mad. David doesn't care, Jeff. Like when I say he doesn't care, you know, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. That's how much David doesn't care about you, Jeff. He's very much indifferent. When you're in front of his face, he's going to say, hi. He's going to laugh and joke with you. And when you're gone, it's like you cease to exist to him. Right? He is indifferent towards you. And it just so happens he was involved in injuring a person he's indifferent towards, right? That's the reaction you're getting. I'm just helping you, Jeff, because once you understand it, you'll be able to kind of heal and move past it. You're looking for something from David that he couldn't give you because he doesn't have it to give to you. He was never your friend. He was never like emotionally invested in you. You were just content for him. I don't know if you knew that before, if you would have sued him right away, because I don't even know if you would have still sued them. I don't even know if you would have, because you kind of have that mentality. Like, you know, you want to stay away from the courts kind of mentality. And you're like, oh, criminal, I would have got him deported. No, you wouldn't have gotten him deported. He would have gotten himself deported. He was the one who was doing something. And guess what? If that's the consequences for his actions, it's not like he didn't do it. He did do it. And the law says if you're acting reckless and you're not a citizen, back you go to where you came from. That's what should have happened. And you think he's going to kiss your feet because you didn't report him? No, he doesn't care because he doesn't even think he did anything wrong anyway. And he probably thinks he can lawyer himself out of it. I don't know. You think that, oh, because I did all this stuff for David, he owes me his life, or he owes me this, he owes me that. David is looking at you saying, I owe you nothing. So whatever I give you, you better take it with a smile. That's how David acts. That's how David acts. And once you see it, then you know who you're dealing with.
At this point, I've just completely given up, and it feels good, you know?
That's good. It feels good, Jeff. You have to release David. David was never yours, so release him. You know, if you love someone, let them go. If they come back to you, they're yours. If they don't come back, they never belonged to you in the first place. That's David. He never belonged to you. I'm not even getting into what I really think is going on here.
I think that you're just more like going through a lot of emotions because at some point you did click out with these kids. And even like, not to sound emotional or anything, because the best thing that you ever did for me was to distance yourself from me, because then I was able to find myself and find my path. But I think like it hurts you more the most because
you were on a lot of drugs. You were robbing people. You were doing all types of crazy
I'm talking about
stuff.
when I got out of prison.
Oh, yeah, and then that was a different thing there too.
Interesting. I don't know. That kind of picked up to me because I'm like, why did you distance yourself from him when he came out of prison? It was weird too because I remember I used to see this guy when he came out of prison. Then I started seeing him in Jeff's barbershop episodes, and then after I didn't see him for a while. So I guess that's what they're talking about, that Jeff kind of said like, oh yeah, I distanced myself from him. I don't know why, because guess what, Jeff? You look the part for the Vlog Squad. I'm sorry, this guy right here, but you weren't going to click in that group. I don't know, Jeff, so why did you distance yourself from him? Is it because your other friends didn't want to hang out with him? That's what I'm thinking.
You had a lot of time in prison to think about it, and sometimes people just need to realize that they're making some mistakes, and you learn from them and grow, and that's what life's about. Some people don't have that empathy in them. They are too narcissistic to believe they can do any wrong, and that's what I've realized.
I'm not going to throw around the word narcissistic because everybody's using that word now, but all I'm saying is David was always the way he is now. He has his whole life up on YouTube. Pick any episode and watch David. Same person. Someone like him, they don't even realize how they come off because he has people around him hyping him up saying he's good. That's another thing. That's what I'm saying. Those people around him who know he's doing the wrong stuff, but you're okay with it because he's making you money too. And you know that your cash flow keeps going because you appear in his vlog. You're enabling him. The best thing that happened to him is when he was canceled for like 3 months. Now he's talking about, oh, I'm quitting YouTube, not doing YouTube vlogs anymore. Yeah, best thing that happened to him. He realized he needs to focus on other things.
And that's why I regret sugarcoating this documentary to where I tried to salvage this person's career and image because I thought he was a friend and I thought he had good in him.
This Hollywood shit's smoke and mirrors.
You tried to salvage his image because you thought he was a friend. Or maybe because he said he was going to pay all your medical bills. Right? Because you said he did say that. And so, okay, it was like a deal. You guys made a kind of deal, I would say. Because you're not going to salvage his career for nothing. Then I would have been like, whoa, you did it for nothing? Jeff, you're on another level. That's what I would have said. But no, David said he was going to pay your medical bills. So that makes sense that you would have done it that way. You would have been like, oh, he paid my medical bills. Oh, you're paying my medical bills? Okay, I'll give you final say over the video and what goes in and out. That makes more sense. That's why you did it. It was mutually beneficial.
There's more to why I'm pissed off and why I'm lashing out and why I'm finally speaking up than just him not texting me. I could get over that. I realized over the past few months and years of him not giving a fuck that would probably happen. I'm not surprised. And I'll be dealing with this shit for life. So, I don't expect him to text me every year. I could be 80 years old and go through another eye surgery and have him fucking text me. Yeah, I get that. The real reason I was mad, it's going to come out publicly in a month anyway, but David filmed the documentary, and the producer of the documentary, creator of the documentary, director, whatever you want to call it, he called me, FaceTimed me to show me the clip of the interview when David addressed the situation with the crane. And he said that it was my fault. David blamed me for the crane. He insinuated that I was crazy. I always want to push it. And I'm the reason that this happened.
That makes sense to me. You remember what I said before? People justify what they do when they do something wrong. Now we're hearing how David truly feels, which makes sense because that's how he acted. David is not by your bedside because he doesn't feel responsible. You're lucky you even got money out of David because you heard it. He doesn't even feel responsible for what happened. He's putting it on you, Jeff. But it was always like that. Because even in the final edit cut that you gave him over your documentary, I don't know why you did that. Or maybe because, he's paying for your bills. He made it, that's why too, I kind of bit my tongue in a bit because I'm like, wow, that document that you pulled out made it look like it was your fault, Jeff. Even I had to say, like, if I were to just say, oh, this is how it happened, because I didn't know David had final cut. You would have had to told me David had final cut. Then I would say, this is not right. I thought you had final cut, Jeff. So when I saw the incident and how it happened, like, I watched your documentary, it made it seem like you volunteered to do it after Corinna was spinning too fast. And then you, for some weird reason, were like, I'll do it. So now I'm hearing, okay, that's not how it really went down. But I'm saying even the video you produced, your own documentary, you gave David so much wiggle room. Where now you have his little fans going around saying, oh, Jeff, you're the one who did it. You're the one who did it. You got on it. Because that's what that's what you showed in the video. That's the only thing. Okay, but now it's good to know how it happened. And yeah, I could have told you from now until eternity that David felt like he did nothing wrong. You just needed to get one person to ask him the right questions and that would have came out. That would have came out the day it happened, the day after it happened, and the day before it happened. David would tell you he did nothing wrong.
When that's complete bullshit, there's 20 people on the beach that are witnesses.
I wouldn't trust those 20 people. The only people I would trust is that camera. As long as there was a camera running, you're good, Jeff. If it happened the way you said and the camera was running, you're good. But if you had no cameras and all those people are on the beach, they're going to side with David. Those people aren't your friends, Jeff. They're David's friend. Because even after what happened to you, they didn't even distance themselves from David. They were still surrounding David. But that doesn't surprise me because when Seth went through his stuff, they surrounded David. When Big Nick went through his things, they surrounded David. When Dom went through his stuff, they surrounded David. When, who else? Somebody else they did. Well, even that stuff with Trisha, they surrounded David. Like, didn't matter. You just see a pattern. Everybody that had problems with David that were around the Vlog Squad or in the Vlog Squad, David didn't care and nobody around them cared because this is another thing I think. That Jeff, I think you weren't even like a real Vlog Squad members. I think they have their own clique, like the OGs, that's like the inner circle. And like Jeff, you were just brought in, but I think Todd brought you in. But I don't think they ever really felt you were like a member. You weren't kicking it with them like that. Jeff always had his own stuff going on. And Jeff was doing good with the boost from David Vlogs. But Jeff had his own little posse. He was collecting his own little crew. And he was taking people from the Vlog Squad and putting it in his videos and stuff. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I have a theory.
I have fucking 6 terabytes of footage of you asking me, begging me to go out there and do the thing again, and that you would spin it slow. You just want to take me out there.
Boom. If you're telling me you have video of that, I would have released my theory a long time ago. I would have said what I thought what was going on. But that's not the video you released. You released the video saying, I'll do it. Like volunteering. You let David have that much say over the final cut of your video. Wow. So he was begging you to go on and he told you he was going to do it slow. Do y'all hear that? Don't trust this guy named David. Don't trust him. But again, Emma told him she had a fear of caterpillars and he blindfolded her and put caterpillars on her. You tell somebody your deepest fear, right? Think about it. You tell somebody your deepest, darkest fear, and the next day they present you with it. And then they're laughing on top of it. And then I tell you that person is your friend. No, that person isn't your friend. You're going to know. No, a friend wouldn't do something like that. If I said, oh, that person was your enemy, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's something an enemy would do. First of all, why would I tell an enemy my deepest, darkest fear? Exactly. You wouldn't. You would know not to tell your enemy your deepest, darkest fear. You would know. Right? You would know not to do that. That's why these people get you every time because they come to you saying they're your friends. And then for some reason, because they say they're your friend, you let them get away with it. They're treating you worse than your enemy would treat you. You know, people say, I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy. These people are doing it to you. So what does that make them? And you still call them your friend. And you're still waiting for them to act like a friend and be a friend. Jeff, I would understand if David was like a childhood friend and you're hanging on for memory's sake, but you just met David yesterday. I had a video put up and I did a quick joke referring to Jeff as in the guy that David tried to kill. And I did it as a joke. You guys, I have to say it's a joke because I don't want to be sued, right? I said it as a joke. Do you think I was joking? You think I was joking? I wasn't joking. All right.
Because it's more scenic and it looks better on camera. It's more cinematic.
Jeff, David cares more about the scenery than he does the people doing dangerous stunts for him. He just told you right there. But are you all listening? Are you all paying attention? All of this is for not now because I'm pretty sure David's not even doing those same style of vlogs anymore. I don't think he's doing anything reckless anymore. And he was making a lot of money giving away cars and stuff. He would have been the Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast took over for David. David is, his views are still good, but they're not what they were because now everybody knows what's going on. That's what I like. Just know what people are up to. If it's younger people watching these YouTubers, you have to direct them and tell them, okay, yes, you're seeing this, but it doesn't mean it's right. Because, I don't know, I think all these people grew up with these weird people on YouTube and now they're like adults and they have a weird mentality. And I think it's because they followed these weird people. It's not like they followed like young girls now watching Emma Chamberlain. I'm not worried about them. I haven't even watched the Emma Chamberlain thing, but I'm pretty sure she's just a young woman making it in this world. I don't know. I'm not scared for young people watching her channel. And she's promoting, I think mostly, I'm sure her viewers are young girls, where David, he's like programming these boys watching him. And those boys are thinking pranks are funny. Yeah, this is how you treat your friends and this is how you treat women. They're growing up on David and Shane. Oh, that's what's gross. And nobody's there to counter, or nobody was there to counter these people. Because now all those young people, because that was 10 years ago, Shane was acting up on YouTube. These people are adults now and they still look at Shane and think he's done nothing wrong. I understand watching Shane with your eyes open. But their eyes aren't open when they watch Shane. They watch Shane and they say he's a good person. And I'm like, how can you watch somebody be not a good person and then say they're a good person? That's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. Like, watch Shane and be like, yeah, I watch Shane, he's a train wreck. Or, yeah, I watch Shane, he's not funny, but he's cringe, and I like watching cringe. Then I'd be like, yeah, I get you. But when people are like, oh, I watch Shane because I like him, and he's funny, and he's a good person, that's when I'm like, what are you watching? Like, you're watching a totally different show than everybody else that are still watching him and know what he's up to. Okay, back to David.
And just to hear him sit there and say that, I was like in shock at first. Because I'm looking at it over FaceTime and I just couldn't believe that he would say that. Not only does he not really give a fuck, but imagine you smash somebody's skull in. They take it on the chin. They don't sue you. They don't fucking press charges. I mean, anything. I would nearly died. I came an inch from death and an inch from going blind. I'll have lifelong brain injuries and save them from fucking everything. You would have got deported. You would have got put in jail for manslaughter. You could have got sued for everything. I took it on the chin, and then to see this.
That's what tells you this, Jeff. You did all of that for him. And David, when asked the question, said, oh, yeah, that's all your fault. Like, if you would have went to court and everything like that, you know what the narrative would be for David? This Jeff guy, I did everything for him. I put him in my vlogs and then he went and he got injured and then he sued me for a cash grab. That's how David would tell the story because David thinks he did nothing wrong. So you would have to just eat all of that up if you were going to sue him and press charges. You would have just had to do it and just know whatever you did, whether you chose to sue him or not, chose to press charges or not, he would have had the same mentality. He did nothing wrong. Right now, you know what you are to him right now? You're an irritant. You are irritating David right now. That's what it's come to. You are causing David problems. David is mad at you now because it's like, this guy can't just keep his mouth shut. I'm paying all his bills and I don't even have to. I'm doing a favor for this guy. That's what David thinks. David thinks he's doing you a favor. This is my opinion, Jeff. David thinks he's doing you a favor by paying your medical bills. David thinks he's doing charity. You know how he gives these people cars? Like, that's what he's doing, like, with this. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm helping you because this is charity. You know, this is my charity. Like, the same way he gives these people cars and then they go on camera like, oh, I love David. He gave me a car. That's what he wanted you to do. He wanted you to go around, continue doing, saying how much you love David and how much David is helping you. David's paying your bills. That's what he wants. He wanted that, that free, good, positive PR. That's what he needed. That's what you were there for. And now you're not. Like, the one thing he gave you money for to do for him, like, he did you something because he was getting something back in return. If he's doing something for you, it's because he knows he's getting something more back in return. So those little medical bills, and you said he got off light on the medical bills because you just said that you just want him to pay for the hospital stay. So I guess he's not paying for like therapy, physiotherapy, nothing like that. Just paying for hospital stays. But I'll get into that. But that's how you know David doesn't care. And now you're irritating David because you're not shutting up and you're changing the story around. This is David's thing. It's like, why can't this guy shut up right now? And yeah, I'm not going to give him any more money. Look at it. He's not even doing what I gave him the money to do. I gave him the money to shut up and smile, and he's not shutting up and smiling. That's how David is a mean person. Remember I said Shane is mean? David is meaner.
And that just made me completely lose all respect for this guy.
I'm surprised you had respect for him in the first place. Because I don't know what it is about him. You saw it. I don't even want to say it, but Trisha called it. Remember that famous quote that Trisha said about David? She called it. But it takes one to know one.
And lose all hope that he could ever turn around and become a better person. I know he does a lot on video. He gives away cars and shit like that. But, doing stuff on video and doing things in real life are two completely different things.
But he's doing the same thing in real life and on video. That's what I'm saying. It's not two different things. These people are showing you who they are. It's not two different things. I'm doing a video on Moses. Now, he is the perfect example of two different things. You see one thing and then they turn out to be something else. David wasn't like that. David is what you see is what you get. For some reason, when you look like this, people give you chances upon chances upon chances. Funny, if he looked any way else, if he looked any different, that first stunt gone wrong, if he looked any different and was running around with a blowtorch, he would have been arrested. You understand that? If he looked any different and he was running around with a blowtorch, he would have been rightly arrested and put in jail. So I'm saying, why are you giving this guy chances? He wasn't one way and turned another way. No, David is what you see is what you get. He's not hiding anything from you guys. He did this to countless people before. You just happen to be one of the few that got injuries that, he can't hide or he can't benefit off of because he pulled his childhood friend.
We were in the 7th grade, threw a pine cone right at his eye. It got infected.
I was in the hospital for like a week and a half. Cost us about 10 grand.
He got a staph infection. So not only does he now need a hip replacement, but he needs extra bones and weird procedures.
You think if I did that to a childhood friend, I'm going to pull them on camera and then laugh and tell people what I did? You think I'm going to do that? You think I'm going to do that? I wouldn't do that. Right? That's what I'm telling you. He's missing some kind of check and balance where you would say, no, that's not right. No, don't bring your childhood friend on who you had like a fight and you accidentally threw a pine cone in his eye and gave him life-changing injuries. Okay, you're a kid, but don't put that person on camera and laugh while he tells his story. Don't do that, David. Like, nobody told him not to do it. That's what I'm saying. These people are telling you who they are. They're not editing anything out. And then you're like, oh, I thought he was this, and I thought he was never that. And again, I didn't even get into my theory, but we're going to get into it.
You know what I mean? This fake shit.
I know exactly what you mean. That's why I stay away from it.
Yeah.
I don't condone that shit.
People in Hollywood are fake. People are fake friends. It's not new, right? We all know this. Why is it new to people? It's not a new thought or a new theory. Yeah, people are fake. We know this. It's sad that it happened to you, but you're not telling us anything new right now.
Honestly, I don't even know how much we can get into yet. We'll see how things play out. But I'm just saying, like, imagine a fucking friend nearly killing you. You keep your mouth shut for a year. Let everybody make fun of you. Don't say shit. Keep the thing a secret. Now the documentary's over and you don't got to cover your ass anymore. You don't got to worry about what we're going to post because you think the story's already out there.
Imagine a friend, no. Because somewhere in that thought, I would realize that person wasn't a friend. So no, I'm not going to imagine a friend doing that because a friend wouldn't do that. At that point, that's not your friend anymore. Once you realize that's not your friend anymore, because you know a friend wouldn't do that, boom, then you'll know how to act. You have to change your mind. David is not a friend. Okay, now imagine if somebody who isn't your friend did all of that stuff to do. Now, how would you handle them, Jeff? You tell me how you would handle them. Okay, bet that's what you do then. That's what you do.
I regret doing this too, but this is me being a loyal friend. I let him pass through the edit of the doc and take out anything that made him look bad.
See, okay, so I know I was saying it before, but because I watched this video already, but that right there blew my mind. I was like, no, you become an unreliable narrator. Jeff, I thought that was your documentary, right? That's why I held my tongue too, because there was stuff you put that was in that documentary where I'm like, oh, right? Especially you getting on that rope. It played off different from how you're saying it actually happened. So that was a bombshell. Can you imagine? That's like, let me think. How am I going to explain this? It's like someone tried to stab you and then you let them clean up the crime scene. Like you give them time, like, okay, before I call the cops, I'm going to let you clean up the crime scene. I don't know. You see how that sounded weird? It sounded weird even saying it. You let David put his hands all over your documentary. David knows how to film and edit.
And that day I came home from surgery, I was sitting on the couch, laying there with blood coming out of my eye on fucking anesthesia, completely a vegetable. And he came right in here, ran right into the editing bay, and all he cared about was editing to clean up the fucking video to cover up that this happened.
That sounds about right. Yep. David just running into the house and running into the editing room. Yep, that sounds normal for David. Don't take it personally, Jeff. That's David. David doesn't care. David doesn't care. David loves editing. If you would have gave him something else to edit, David would have ran in the room the same way. He would have said, hey, what's up? And then just run in the room same way. David likes editing stuff anyway. David was driving to your house like, woo, I get something to edit today. Woo, woo, woo. Lucky me. He wasn't thinking about you at all. No ways. Because that's David. What you see is what you get. He's not deep. He's not a deep thinker. There's nothing like, you know, those guys that are like mysterious. They're few words, but you know something else is going on in their head. That's not David. He's just looking for his next shot. I'm sure all in his head, all he's thinking about, how can I shoot this? How can I shoot that? How can I shoot that? How can I shoot that? That's, oh, this looks really good. I wish I had my camera so I can shoot it. That's what's going on through David's head. Not once is your eye going anywhere through David's mind. He doesn't think about you. Only when you pop up your head to talk nonsense about him, and he doesn't even care about that. It's just people in his DMs and people in his comment sections. Maybe then it gets to him, and then he gets irritated because he's not thinking about you until you kick up dust. Jeff, that's how you get attention. It's like you're like a child now throwing a temper tantrum, and then David is like, oh, not him again. That's how David sees you right now. Again, people who are not understanding. I'm not saying David is right. I'm just telling you what's going on in his head. And I'm telling you what's going on in Jeff's head. What I think is going on in their heads. Obviously, I don't know. I don't know them. This is what I think. And I'm telling you all what I'm thinking. And this is what I thought the minute all of this stuff went down. And I still didn't get to my theory. You guys are going to think I'm a mess. But I'm going to tell you my theory soon.
You can't cover it up. It's once shit happens, accidents happen, you can't cover it up. But what you can do is learn to do the right thing after.
But I have to say, Jeff, sorry. I have to say it. I have to. That's on you now, what you just said when you tried to cover up what David did and Dom did. And you were in the mix too. All right. So you're telling David not to cover stuff up when you were actively covering stuff up as well. Like you guys are doing the same things in different circumstances, but at least acknowledge, or maybe you did eventually acknowledge, right? You actually came around and realized what you did was wrong. David is not going to reach that stage yet. He's not. He needs to lose more money to backtrack and turn around and turn over a new leaf. He's not going to do that right now. But that's what I'm saying. In general, don't defend somebody that's doing wrong. Don't do it. Don't cover up anybody doing wrong. Don't do it. And Jeff, even though you're covering up David with that whole Dom situation, I really think you're covering for yourself as well, because nobody else in the vlog squad talked when the whole mess was out on the inside. Or nobody talked about it. Not even David. They already learned from a couple of weeks before when David had Scotty go out and talk for him. Scotty said, oh, we don't address drama, and this is the first time we address drama. Remember the whole Seth thing? And Scotty was defending David and discrediting Seth. And everybody turned on Scotty, right? Remember, everybody turned on Scotty. The one time they addressed drama and everybody turned on Scotty. From there, David is like, okay, back to the drawing board. We're not going to discuss any controversy. This is my thinking. So Jeff, when the other stuff came out about him and Dom, I believe you went out and you spoke on your own because really, David wouldn't have sent you to speak for him. He wouldn't have. I think you did it on your own because your name was in that insider article, because Todd's name was in that article too, and Todd did not speak up right away. Todd kept his mouth shut. You were the only one who spoke up, and I think you spoke up because your name was in the article, because that's what you said. You're like, my name is in the article, and you were mad because you said you're losing endorsements. You lost the Old Spice, and you're upset, and, you know, I'm gonna talk my talk. That's what you were doing. I think you did it for yourself, because no way would David send someone who just got out of surgery, right? And you said you're on medication. You know what I mean? He wouldn't send you to be his mouthpiece. He just wouldn't do it. Tried it with Scotty because Scotty had up until that point, Scotty had like a good reputation and it didn't work with Scotty. Never mind you. He would not have sent you. You did that on your own and you did it for yourself. And you were hoping to, you know, brush off that David and everybody else would get benefit, but it went way left. So I just want to say that. You know what? It looks worse too? When you cover up from somebody, like, okay, let's say Scotty covered up for David, Jeff covered up for David, and then David goes on camera and saying, I am wrong. I did the wrong thing. I am wrong. Boom, Scotty, now you look horrible. And now, boom, Jeff, you look horrible. You're defending somebody who comes out and says, yeah, what I did was wrong. Don't defend people that are doing wrong. Don't. It's not a good look. It's all on camera. What was there was basic. You had alcohol, you had women underage, under drinking age, and whatever happened after. That's all facts. And from that alone, boom, what happened that day, that night was wrong. Don't defend it. Just don't defend it. And nobody asked you to defend it, Jeff. You defended it yourself. Nobody asked you to.
And that little kid shit saying, oh, I'm 18, he's a kid, I don't know how to deal with these things. You're 26, you're an adult, and life sometimes gets hard, and you need to learn to deal with it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't, because you guys let him get away with it. You all are letting him get away with it. You think I can go through the vlog squad and tell you what he thinks about each member? No, because they're gonna come to me and say, no, that's not true. David is a lovely person. People are still around him, coddling him, and he's still getting deals on TV. He's golden right now. He's getting TV deals. So no, this is the thing, Jeff. People like David, right? You could have been the same way, but you have a criminal record. David is like pristine. He doesn't have anything on record. He has that boyish look. He's going to get far in life. You can watch there and like seethe and wait for his downfall. But if people are still like you and cover up for him, he's not going to fall down. He's going to fall up. Oh, you didn't know that? There are people who fall up. Yes. David is a living example of that.
I know this is a different type of podcast. I'm not trying to lecture people. It's just an emotional thing. You know, I had my face smashed in, and the one thing I asked from him was to not blame me for it.
Listen, in one of these documentaries or something, and I remember him saying, or maybe it was on his documentary, somewhere he said, I didn't want to come out with my story of what happened to my eye because I didn't want people to say I was an idiot, I was dumb for doing what I did. And I felt him when he said that, because that's what happens. When you get into an accident, the first thing people kind of think to say, okay, if not the first, the second is, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Why did you do that? Oh, I told you never to do that. That's what people say when you get into an accident or you do something that was preventable, so to speak. Jeff knew from the jump after he woke up in that hospital bed, like, oh no. Like, it's embarrassment, you guys. It's embarrassing to get injured that severely and the way it happened. And now you're going to have to tell people because people are going to look at you like, well, how could you do that to yourself? They're going to blame you. Right? And so when Jeff said the only thing I ask is don't blame, like I felt Jeff on that because he was saying that from before. I didn't want to come up with my story because I didn't want people to just start going in on me. And that's what people did. People did, but that's the fans you circled yourself around. You see Ethan. Ethan was willing to give you that empathy that you're looking for. I'm sure there's other people out there was willing to give you that empathy, but they couldn't because you were like hugged up on David. You have to understand, you were hugged up on David, so all these other people couldn't give you that empathy because now they look stupid if they're empathizing with you and you're like, no, I'm good. Me and David are best friends. So then Ethan is gonna have to start cracking jokes on you. Other people are going to say, oh, da, because you were covering up for David so good. Even in your own video, you made it seem like you volunteered to go on that rope. I watched that video once, but I'm pretty sure you're like, oh, I'll do it or something. And you jumped on that rope. Like I didn't see any coaching or anything. So even you giving David final edit and that video came out, yeah, people are going to think you did it. People aren't going to say, oh, it's David's fault, They're going to say, oh, you jumped on that rope. They're going to see, oh, you saw Corinna spinning around all hectic, and then you, for some reason, decided to go on to be the next one to volunteer. That's what people are thinking. But again, I feel him. This was a real concern of his.
I don't want to look like a clout-chasing idiot when you asked me to go out on there. You begged me to come out there.
Jeff saying that David begged him to go out on it. All of that was cut out. Jeff, if I was there, I would say, no, don't do it. Don't do it. The way he presented it now, like Jeff is begging him. David is begging him. David is saying, I'm going to go slow. I just want it for the scenery. You see these directors do it to legit actors and actresses. See all these actresses coming out now? You see Euphoria? I was going to do a video on that. All these actresses coming out. And I have to watch what I'm saying now. But have you seen these reports of these actors coming out and what they're saying is going on? These directors, which David is aspiring to be, they don't care about people in the sense where they want you to stand here, go there, do that, hold this, take down that, move over there, turn around. They're just looking for the perfect shot, the perfect scene. They have something in their head that they see that they want it to become reality. And they don't care about the mechanics of it getting there. They just want the scene. How come nobody else, after Corinna, well, I don't know what happened. Nobody else got on that rope and he has to convince somebody and he chooses Jeff to convince out of everybody else? Why Jeff? If you had to convince Jeff that much, why didn't you go to the next person? Why didn't you go ask Heath? Why didn't you go ask Todd? Or were they already injured from the other thing that they said they got injured too there? Were they already injured and you couldn't use them? Why Jeff? I would have said, Jeff, don't go on there. I don't trust it. Yeah, no, but that puts it all into perspective.
After a couple days in the hospital, I'm still in shock. When I leave the hospital, my face is a fucking balloon. He gets a call from Kourtney Kardashian. He pans the phone over to me. I'm in the passenger seat, and he goes, look, he did something stupid. It took a second to realize, like, it's Kourtney Kardashian. I'm not going to be like, oh, fucking, what? No, he fucking did it. I didn't say anything. I kept my mouth shut. But I told him after when we were alone, I said, look, that call, that's not how this is going to go. I'll take this on the chin. I'll eat this. I'll believe it was an accident, and I'll try my best to forgive. But if you go around saying that this was not your fault, and you try to put it on the other guy, who's me, and say that this was my fault, these life-altering injuries, then there's going to be problems. That's where the switch flipped.
And here's what I have to tell you, Jeff. Nobody's scared of you, Jeff. Nobody's scared of you. David wasn't intimidated by you at all. You telling him, hey, listen, this is not going to go down that way. He was maybe looking at you, nodding his head, yeah, but he didn't give a care in the world. Think back to that situation and think about the look on his face. I bet you he didn't care. I bet you he was like, yeah. That's what he was doing. He was just goofing and laughing while you were talking. Nobody's scared of you, Jeff. Jeff, you think this is street code. You think you're dealing with street people. You're not dealing with street people. You're dealing with people who decided to move to Hollywood to run around with a camera. They're not scared of you, Jeff. And I see Jeff too online. He's trying to like strong arm people and act like DM people and act like he's some big tough guy. Nobody cares about you, Jeff. Jeff, you're not going to do anything to anybody. You're not going to do anything. So don't act like you're threatening somebody or you're like, this is not going to go down that way. No, David doesn't care. David knows he can do whatever comes to his mind. David knows he can do. You can't stop David. So even people in general, when you tell people, better not do something or else, you better be sure about the or else, because that person is going to try you. That person's going to try you. Don't say or else. Yeah, if you were street people, these were street dudes, that's a whole other story. Threats mean something when you don't care about the law. But most people in David's world and wherever, they care about the law in such that, Jeff, you're not going to scare David. If you even try to rough up David, David's going to go to the phone and call the cops and say, Jeff is trying to beat me up right now. You need to arrest him. David will call the cops on you, Jeff. He will. He will call the cops and watch as they arrest you if you try anything with him. David doesn't care. So that whole situation is very embarrassing, and David shouldn't have done that. And I already know, because I saw you from time saying you didn't want people making fun of you. So I felt you on that. I feel you on this. But I feel you. Most people will feel you. David will not ever feel you on that. He doesn't care. He will do what he wants to do.
He's trying to make a joke out of your injury.
And it's not that David is making a joke out of Jeff's injuries. David makes a joke out of everything. Except, wait, we'll get to it.
Because now he said in a documentary that even the director was so shocked that he had to call me. He hadn't shown anybody. And this guy who's editing it and making this, he's not showing David. Supposedly. He won't give him any chances to edit anything. And it's just going to be real. And he was just so shocked that he could, because he knows the whole story. He's been there from day one, and he knows how everything went down.
Okay, so at the end, he reveals that it's Casey Neistat, however you pronounce that guy's name. Yeah, he was the one that he's the one that is outing David and what David did. Jeff, you needed Casey to tell you this? David would have been told you that in the hospital room. He doesn't care, right? Okay, good that Casey got it on camera that he doesn't care and what David really thinks. But if you were paying attention, David always had that thought. While you're there threatening David and saying it's not going to go down like that, David had the same thoughts in his head. Like, why is this guy mad at me? He got on that rope. That's what David's thinking. It's not his fault. And he's doing you a favor by paying your bills.
I'm done. I'll just keep it real. I thought, maybe I'll just crack jokes on him for the rest of my life, and eventually I'll learn to forgive.
And that's what I said again, with these people cracking jokes, and you think it's funny. You're cracking jokes of somebody because they're a different sexuality, or they're a different race, or they have a disability, and you're cracking jokes. It's funny jokes. Oh, now, I'm not going to say this about Jeff, because it's not that Jeff was doing this, but now y'all know how Big Nick felt, right? Big Nick was saying, everything was jokes and jokes, but then now I'm walking around and people are making fun of me, right? You have to watch your jokes because you think you're joking. Maybe you're in a friend group and everything is all jokes, but you're putting it online. And you're teaching people that, it's okay to insult people who have life-changing injuries. And it's okay to laugh at them and make jokes about it because it's funny. David is the type of person that would be the one to be operating a machinery and spinning it around wildly to cause you to be injured. And then he'll look at you the next day and laugh at you and say, why are you so upset? And he'll laugh at you because that's David. He will do it and then laugh at you. How did I know this? Because I saw him do it to Emma. Emma was minding her own business and he did that to her and he laughed. I saw people walk into his house and he had a blowtorch. He would greet them with blowtorches and laugh. I saw all of this. I would have told you, Jeff, a long time ago, hey, listen, David is not the type. Don't put all your hopes and dreams and aspirations on David being by your bedside and calling you after every surgery. He is not going to do it.
And he'll grow up, but it's just not happening.
Yeah, grow up. No, people don't change. I have this theory, people don't change. People don't change, okay? This is my theory. People don't change, ... unless they want to. David's not changing for you, Jeff. David is not changing for Big Nick. David is not changing for Seth. David's not changing for anybody. Because right now, he is the way he is, and he's living in a mansion. So why would he change? There's nothing in his life right now that's telling him he needs to change right now. He has a mansion and he has a group of friends that were with him on the come up. These aren't like new friends. These friends were with him when he was in like 1-bedroom apartment in LA, you know, trying to make it in the world. He has all his friends. He's not going to feel like he needs to change. His friends are saying, oh, he's doing the right thing.
You kind of enabled him to manipulate the situation, you know?
Oh, look how smart this guy is right here. You enabled him. This guy knows. People only do what you allow them to. Because if you're not there, they're not going to be able to do whatever to you. You get one chance. After that, leave. Be like, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah,
Because you were being
I gave him a chance.
You thought you being a good friend.
You could tell even Jeff doesn't even like hearing that. Like, you enabled David. He doesn't like to hear that. But Jeff, you need to hear it. Because you're listening. David's not going to listen. David is not. I'm not talking to David because David's not listening. David's not listening. You might listen. This guy, your friend, is telling you real right now. You enabled him. You need to hear it. You need to hear it. You know, not all David. You were there. You were kind of new to the group, but you were still around when all these other stuff was going down. You saw everything going down. And people think, oh, I'm watching one person get ostracized and it's not going to happen to me. I'm watching one person doing something for David getting injured. It's not going to happen to me. I see David. I'm telling you, you don't need to watch somebody do something big. It's the small stuff. Putting caterpillars on someone who hates caterpillars, that's a big deal to me, right? Boom. I already know all I need to know about you. I'm not going to be your friend. I watch what you did to your other friend or someone else. Even though Emma had to be his best friend. Emma wasn't even his friend. Emma was like a young woman at that point. I don't know if she was 18 or what. She was young. I know David's older. Doesn't matter. Like, you would think that's something like your older brother would do to you when you were like 8 years old, and your older brother knows you don't like caterpillars and they're gonna put it on you and then you're gonna scream. And you know what? At some point your brother's gonna stop doing it to you, right? Your brother, at some point, he's gonna realize, yeah, I better stop doing that to my little sister. She doesn't like it. Like, at some point in childhood, you work out these things, what you can and cannot do to people. David's childhood has shown that he can do all of this stuff and people love him more and people more want to be his friends and people will fly out with him to LA to make it in the world doing the same stuff. Like, there's no point where he got that thought saying, oh, this is wrong. He was like, no, let me monetize this. Even better. YouTube will pay me for this? Even better. He got to the point he got so many views, he didn't even need YouTube AdSense money. That's how big YouTube made him. YouTube made him so big, he didn't even need AdSense money. I remember David was like, oh, I use all these copyrighted music because I just want my videos to be amazing. I don't care. I'm not getting any AdSense money. I don't even care. Because he's had tons of sponsorship. He didn't even need the pennies of AdSense. He could just throw all of that away. He didn't care. He demonetized his videos. He wasn't getting paid for them. Yeah, so even YouTube demonetizing him, he wasn't getting paid for his videos. It was the sponsors. That's why when the sponsors left, that's why he had to shape up and act right. YouTube was never paying him.
Being loyal, you basically help him cover it up, and then for his own selfish ways, and not to take any kind of accountability, that he basically believed in his mind that you were truly responsible just to take the guilt off of him.
Whoa! This dude just said it. Yeah, why would he think he did anything wrong? Jeff, you're even covering up for him. You're even doing everything for him. So yeah, on top of it, for sure. Again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm like this dude here. I'm just telling you, this is how David thinks. We're not saying David is right. We're saying this is why David is thinking the way he's thinking. This is how his mind works.
No psychopaths can believe their own lies.
Yeah, but Jeff, you're not taking your part, your little bit of part in it. You're a little bit of part. Everybody has a little bit of part. Everybody who's around David has a little bit of part in it. Because you guys watch him do these things to other people and you okay it. But when it happens to you, it's a big deal. He's been doing this. This is his thing. The only reason why he changed, because he did change before he got called out and everything, he was changing his content. I don't know what happened, but then, okay, he started giving away cars and being more like charitable. Maybe some PR agency got to him or whatever, where they're like, oh, this is what you do to bring goodwill to your channel and stuff. Because before that, he doesn't care. He wouldn't give cars to people. He doesn't care. You know what I mean? He doesn't really care that much. Maybe it's just a sponsor wanted to sponsor him because he's getting so many views on his video. But Jeff, you have to take that little piece You have a little piece in it only because you were around these people and you were around when a legit crime was being committed. You were like around. I don't know, you weren't like in the room or whatever, but all you guys were around that night. He said, but Jeff said he didn't find out. No, sorry, Jeff. Yeah, there was pictures. You saw she was drunk, so I don't know what to say, Jeff. You know, you were there when it happened to somebody else. Boom, now it's your turn. Everybody else in that group, one day it's going to be your turn. And then what?
Yeah,
Liar's
so-
a good lying piece of shit is
but-
when you really believe your own lies so much that you start saying it out loud and you trick yourself into believing your own lies.
Yeah.
Sociopaths. But
It's not even that he's tricking himself. It's just how he is. He's not even a trick. It's just how his mind works. He's not tricking himself. He really thinks he did nothing wrong. I don't know. I don't want to get that deep into his mind. You know, I don't know really everything because I don't want to put myself that deep into how somebody like that thinks. But Jeff, okay, he's all of that stuff, negative stuff you're saying, and then you chose to hang out with him. You chose to associate yourself with him. You chose to cover up his other crimes. You chose to, not crimes, but his other things he was doing. You chose to make money with him, do business with him. You chose all of that stuff. He was the same guy now that he was then. So it's just to now say, oh, he's this and he's that and he's that. Like, yeah, but how come everybody else knew that? If you watch David's videos for a good, because all his videos are up there, just binge a couple of his videos or watch these compilations. It's like, boom, oh, I get the whole character of David by watching these video compilations. Like, it's really that simple. So now it's like, oh, he's this, David is this label and that label. Okay. But not only did you hang around him, there are people actively now that are hanging around him. And he's still doing the same thing. Like I said, he hit Natalie by accident and was laughing like a hyena. That's funny to him. That's always funny to him. And that will always be funny to him. I'm sure, Jeff, he's watching your footage right now laughing of what happened to you. Because when people get injured and stuff, he thinks it's funny. Like, that's funny to him. He even joked. I remember I watched a video of his and he joked about like, oh, if I killed somebody, oh my goodness, I hope that doesn't happen. Like, that's him. It's funny to him when, jeez, I don't know.
He basically chose his own career over your friendship. Well, there was no friendship.
of course.
See this guy right here, yo, I sorry, I didn't catch your name, but you know there was no friendship. When you realize there was no friendship, everything makes a lot more sense.
Friends wouldn't do this.
You know,
Friends wouldn't do
there's
this.
not a day that goes by that I don't think about why he took me out there and spun that so fast.
I had chills when I got to this part. Chills. Because even when I was going to do this video, when that first thing leaked of his live, I had a theory. And then I'm like, oh, even if I do this video, I was thinking to myself, should I put in my theory? Because I know it's kind of out there. It's weird. This is a weird theory. Because I think things don't just happen, right? So that's how my mind works. And maybe I'm like you, Jeff, in a sense where he said he's thinking like, why did he put me on that rope? And why did... Yeah, I was thinking about that from Jeff when your documentary first aired. I was like, why did he do that to you, Jeff? Whole bunch of people on that beach. Why did he do it to you? He already saw Karina going wild and uncontrolled. Why did he do it to you? And then I thought about it, and then I had an idea, but let me hear what Jeff says, because I wasn't gonna say my theory, but because Jeff is talking and he's talking like this, then I know I'm not out there. My mind goes like this to places, and Jeff's mind is going that way too.
Because we never agreed that we were supposed to go that fast. It
I
was supposed to
think
be
he
the
has some
same as
type of
Corinna.
animosity towards you.
This is where everything went wrong. And this is the one fucked up thing where I kind of see the line of an accident and intentional fucking... I mean, it's blurred. But he asked me to come out there 3, 4, 5, 6 times, asked me to go out there one more time just because it was more scenic, and we were supposed to go slow. The water was 1 foot deep. Yeah. If I would have flown off that thing, it's a lose-lose. I die that way. Because I'm going 60 miles per hour, I would have flown fucking 100 yards and died in the 1 foot water that way. Or I brace for impact and just pray. I had no choice once I started swinging.
Kind of think it was intentional.
Wasn't there a scene in there where Jeff like ties the rope to his foot? Because you're supposed to step on the rope. Like there's a little hoop where you step on, and he kind of tightened it. And that's why they said when he fell, he didn't really just drop because his foot was still tied to the rope, right? Remember all of that? So he's probably looking for some extra security by tying his foot to it. Because he, again, like he said, he didn't want to fall off because the water wasn't that deep. Okay. I remember too in the video that David wanted to go out further. And he just said right there, they weren't supposed to go faster than Corinna, right? Because Corinna was going kind of fast and she was like, no. So then David upped it. And he said there was a line blurred. You all... And then this man right here saying he thinks it was intentional. Like, I know not even to go that far. Like, I wouldn't say that. All right, let me see what Jeff has to say before I say what I think happened.
Because
so these thoughts cross my mind. But if he's around, I don't want to talk about it all day, every day. But if he's just around and tries to be a good friend, then I can get past that.
That was that one part in the documentary where he's like, it was easier for me to get over this if you're beside me. When Jeff said that, I felt that. I'm like, yeah, you know, that I felt that. But guess what? You even see David's face. David is not that guy. David's like, He doesn't care. And then when Jeff was like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. You have to feel the same pain as me. We're going to skydive. And then David's like, yeah, sure. Okay.
I think maybe skydiving could be the finale to all this and we move on with our lives. But I don't know. I think he needs to experience what we were doing to really understand.
I think he should get his license with us.
I think he needs
I'm down. If that will help you out, I will definitely go skydiving with you.
Like, David doesn't care. You're not going to do anything to make yourself feel better with David. You can't. And there's a thing of justice. You know that saying, Bible verse, an eye for an eye. If you take my eye, accident, whatever, for justice to be served, I get to take your eye. That's what it was, an eye for an eye. That's what it means. Jeff, you're never going to feel a feeling of like satisfaction or contentment as long as David has both his eyes. It's just how it is, right? David is not going to even try and understand. Jeff had a friend who put a tape over his eye to kind of feel what Jeff was going through.
But Ryan wanted to put himself in my shoes and tape his eyes shut for the entire duration that I had to keep my eye stitched shut.
It was my idea
Probably
that he
25.
stole from me and fucking carried the bit on.
Ryan
Back up,
did a
please.
legit, what did you do, 3 days?
Maybe,
Oh,
no,
so-
we're on the
oh,
second
day
day
two.
now.
You know, the friend was doing kind of what he wanted David to do. And David is like, I'm not doing that. David wouldn't even think to do that, right? David's like, I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Yeah, so an eye for an eye. Jeff, you're not going to get that justice. And for David to be paying some of your bills and not all of your bills or whatever, then not dealing with you, that's just the way it's going to be because he's never going to do what is necessary. David could do everything short of giving you his eye, and I think Jeff would be, okay, right? But David's not going to do that. The least bit of effort David is not going to do. And that money he was giving you was just like when he gave his little cars to his charity case people, good PR, write off for taxes or whatever. He's only helping you because you're supposed to walk around talking about how great David is. That's why he was paying you. It wasn't really like anything more than that. And right now you're irritating him, like I said, because you're not sticking to the script.
But everybody still says to this day, you made a decision to get on that rope, which I understand. I did make a decision, and I'll have to live with that. It was a stupid one. I was never the one to fucking do the stupid stunts.
That's why it was weird. Why did you get on that rope? I was like, what is this? How is Jeff getting on that rope? Like, where did this happen? Jeff wasn't that guy. And yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jeff. You accumulated David's fans. They don't care. They like stunts. They like you get injured. Haha, it's funny. You have fans that think these things are funny. And they're going to say, oh, toughen up, toughen up. You're still not over that yet? This is what these fans are going to do. They're going to think you're being a baby about it. Any rational person will understand why you feel the way you feel. And yeah, like you said, you made the choice. But there is that pressure because you're saying David was begging you to go on the rope. Nobody else would do it. Like you said, you're not the ones for stunts. And you clarified with him, it's only supposed to go so fast and da-da-da-da-da. Again, you cut all of that out from your documentary. That makes a little bit more understandable. Like, you made it seem like you all willy-nilly just wanted to go on that rope. Like, why would he want to do that? With David, like, why? And even the way you implied it in your video, you made it kind of jokey too. Like, I made the worst mistake of my life. I let the most immature guy I know do it. He's not immature. You just give him like the goofy edit. Like, oh, he didn't know what he was doing. Nah, man. If you're telling me you agreed to go one speed and this man push it up higher, the speed higher, you have to tell you what that means.